Wicked, 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 wicked. Wicked tones, you know.
My biggest pet peeve in the world is dork nerd trainers. But there's one specific guy, I actually don't remember his name or I actually say it, but I don't even care enough to remember it. But this dude was explaining rear delt and just basically saying, I don't disagree with what he was saying about frequency of training them. I think you can train them pretty often, to be honest, but they get a lot of work on back. If you're doing chest properly, doing anything, you're stabilizing through them. So I don't understand maybe why you would train them so frequently unless you had a glaring weakness there. But it's also like the person's talking about training them frequently because they get tired quickly and they recover well when you can train them often. It's like if you're hitting them well, I don't think you really need to train them that often. And when the way I see these guys doing rear delts, like they don't understand like the finer nuances of doing rear delt work is like you need to let the arm relax. So for example, if I'm doing these two, which I'm doing today, if I'm doing cross cable, you see all these, they're up here, they're trying to like spread across, do all this stuff. You can do that if you can find the angle that works for you and your body. It depends on the person, right? I have bad shoulders. I like to keep mine more midline, spreading across like level with my sternum. So it doesn't matter where the cables are. I can spread anywhere I want. They could be in front of me, I can spread them across. I prefer to have a downward angle, so I'm pulling from this downward motion on this cable, the line that it's on right now, right? So, but the thing is, if you're gonna set up rear delt, and then you're gonna get in this position where you're tight here, and you're pushing your arms away from you, even if you're slightly locked down in your back, pinched in your back, you're wrong. And you can see I have 7 pounds on here, right? I don't do heavier than that, like ever. Because it is a small muscle. It's like a sliver on the back of your delt that you're trying to hit, like the rear cap of your delt. It's really not that big, you know what I mean? It goes onto your back, yeah, whatever. You get what I mean, it's not big. So it's like in the sense that I want to start my arm at a lengthened position. So this is my arm lengthened. These are cross cable, right? So I'm lengthened here, there's no tension. I haven't pulled back into me. My arm is like flaccid. It's completely limp like a noodle. I'm just pressure on my hands. So when I posture up here, all I'm doing is posturing up enough to get my head back and my hands to tension on them. So I'm still not squeezed in my back. There's no tension. I haven't pulled my shoulder blades back or pulled down. I'm still open wide in my back and my tension's way out of my hands, from my hips back. So when I go to move here, I can rock here and I can open. I can open across or I can come down and drive chest up through. But it's my hand getting pulled around, relaxing, up. Up. It's not this, you understand? Like it's not this fucking like wavering back and forth, walking, wobbling. I have to get extension on my hand so that my arm can relax and I can move from rear delt. So if I don't sweep from hand and I pull from elbow and I squeeze back, I'm getting into trap, I'm getting into like upper back. Whereas if I pull around and I move from hand, which is this circle that I have, there's tension here, I'm moving across on rear delt. So there's a little crack in my arm to keep my arm from locking out, but my tension is just my hands sweeping across and relaxing. So my arm has to get pulled over my body again to stretch here to move on there, right? So a lot of these guys do far too much weight and they can't get that to happen. So they can't get their arm to lengthen and relax off their body. You should almost feel like your arm is like dislocated. Like in the sense that it's not tucked down into your socket, into your joint, it's kind of relaxed out. So we're weak, we have no power. We have to open with hand to hit rear delt. So if we go over here, that's why when we do this, and guys mimic this constantly, come on this side. Here we can go a bit heavier because we have leverage on this cable. I'm creating an angle where I'm down, right? So I'm positioning my body here. I'm not gonna let my body rotate this way at all. My arm's across my body and I'm leaning this way already, so my hand pressure drives out and I relax. So I'm lengthened again. Shoulders out of the socket, it's not down in me. So I'm not trying to pull, I'm not trying to lock things in here and go, which isn't rear delt, it's a pull. And it's squeezing into your back. You're not hitting your rear delt, which is like literally this back cap. You should feel like a pull on it. So I don't feel that pull until my hand gets stretched out, and then I try and move my hand off, right? If I'm here and I try to pull out, I just grab everything in shoulder, right? So I want to hang here, I'm relaxed. I'm looking up at cable, I'm taking an angle back this way. I'm not straight across. So I'm angled back and I'm looking at that hand. My chest stays here, my arm goes across. So my arm is pulling across my face right now. So there's tension on my hand and right here. There's no tension anywhere else. I'm leaned, so I get that pull. I'm leaning away from the pull, so I have even more tension, and I pull. So I snap this finger, I break this elbow. Pull down. Rock. From here, I don't let my body twist. I let my arm go, and I pull. I relax till I get that tension to stop, that momentum to stop, I rock back. I drive from here and hand. Boom. Boom. I don't need this. You don't need these constant consecutive reps. Like a lot of people think that because once they start a set, the reps have to be like this rapid fire. It's like a automatic machine gun, and then it's done. It's like, no, you can fire a shot. Fire a shot. That's my back, my chest, my neck, my trap, everything. I'm here to train my fucking rear delt. It takes 40 pounds. I could do it with 30, probably, even better. I can do 7 pounds there. And you have capped rear delts because you actually feel your rear delt moving the weight. So it's hand pressure, elbows doing jack shit other than getting away. All my elbow is a hinge. It's not meant to be this rigid thing. So I'm just rocking, I'm snapping hand, I'm letting the elbow take the path that it takes for my hand to drive right down and squeeze my rear delt and then go back out. So try that and you won't need to train your rear delt more than once a week. You don't need to train it 3 days a week with your fucking It's the best too because these guys who have all these tips about how to do stuff and they're like the biggest dorks out there, they look the worst. Like, do you ever notice that? Like, they don't look good. They're not even developed. Like, they're giving you tips for fucking triceps or back, whatever, and you take like a critical look at their physique and you're like, you don't even have any. Like, you're fucking tiny. Your arms are twigs. You have no fucking back, but you're an expert on all this movement. Then why isn't it applying to you? Why can't you get it to reflect in you as the person who's coming up with it? Like, I'm not fucking Mr. Olympia, but I got more muscle than all you motherfuckers. Why? And I don't lift the weight you lift. I don't move the way you move. You guys are like, oh yeah, the fucking thermal dynamics of my fucking, like, it's like all this shit, man. Like, you guys like smoke and mirrors. And you got all these kids, like we talked about before, and I said on the Dave Tate podcast, bodybuilding is subverted to a fucking nerd sport now. Dorks have taken over. And they've literally fucking, they're running the show. But you know what's really funny? Look at the top 5 of the Olympia. Tell me one guy in that group that's a fucking dork when it comes to training. And tell me one guy in that group who listens to a dork who fucking trains people. Not there. Probably not top 10. Probably not top 15, to be honest with you. None of them. But you guys know more than everyone, right? Like, get the fuck out of here, man.